Hey, what's up? It's Classic right here. It's got a couple things to get off on this video. Most is going to be about TNA. For the first thing, MB brought up a great idea where TNA can make a new show so they can showcase more of their talent. Their roster is getting bigger by the weeks. I mean, it seems like every single week they're adding someone new, and for the most part, that's good. I mean, you have your occasional Test and Rikishi and Black Rain, you know, guys like that who really don't need to be on TV. You know, they're a freaking waste. But for the most part, they're picking up good talent. And one thing that came up with Carlito, everyone knows Carlito's going to leave WWE. I mean, that's obvious. You know, he's being in the dumbest situation ever. But everyone's saying, should he go to TNA? Right now, I feel that even though I like Carlito, I love TNA, I don't think Carlito should go to TNA because I don't think they would have anything for him to do. Basically, they don't have enough time. They're basically showcasing their top guys, which they should. I mean, it's their main event, so why not showcase your main event? Angle and Christian Cage and Booker and Sting. Even though I think Sting is, you know, Dixie Carter, you need to get Sting out of here. He doesn't draw anymore. I wish you would realize that. But Sting's a main eventer, so you need to show him. I don't know about Hall and Nash, but you know those other guys, yeah, you have to show them because they're your main eventers. But for the other guys that you see once in a blue moon on Impact, such as, you know, on TNA today, we've seen Peter Williams. I don't think we've seen Peter Williams in the ring in a couple weeks or so. That shows you right there that you need to have another show. It doesn't have to be on prime time. It doesn't have to be during a weekday. MB said, you know, having like on a Wednesday. I don't think so. You know, you don't really necessarily need a back-to-back shows. You know, Wednesday on TNA on Wednesday and then TNA on Thursday. I don't think you should have like that. What they should do is, TNA has a slot on Saturday nights, I think at like 11:30 or so, where they replay Impact. They should take that away, or maybe not take that away, but do it an hour early. But somewhere in that time slot, they should put Explosion or name it something else. Just a 1 hour show where you can maybe show like clips from like Impact, you know, just like a couple clips, you know, nothing that long. But for the most part, it's kind of like your Sunday Night Heats or your Velocities, you know, where you just showcase these guys that normally wouldn't get on Impact. I think that would do good because most of these guys are getting their chance to be on Impact because you have so many Kurt Angle promos. You have to showcase the women's division. You know, you got to do promos with, you know, Team 3D and everything. You know, just these guys backstage that, you know, even though I feel like Frankie Kazarian's getting his push, you're not going to see him all the time on Impact. So put him, you know, on, like I said, Explosion, whatever you want to call it. Put him on that show. Put Petey Williams on that show. Put Shark Boy on that show. You know, any of these guys. Where is Ron Keelings at? Put him on the show. I don't care. Just somewhere where you can showcase these guys. And like I said, if you can do that, then you can start bringing in more guys, and it will start to make sense because these guys, these other guys who's been there for a while, don't have to take a back seat to the new guys coming in. Even though I don't feel the new guys should just get an automatic push just because they're new, I can see Booker T, because Booker T is still, you know, I'm not going to say he's in his prime, but he can still go. And people are going to see that, you know, in the coming weeks. He should have a match with Christian Cage at Turning Point. We'll see. But Booker T can still go. That's why they should showcase him in the main event. But all these other guys, you know, basically they need somewhere to showcase their stuff, and that's where their second show should come into place. Also, with that second show, all these matches, these random matches that they'll have on pay-per-view would make more sense because they have more build-up. Like, I believe on Turning Point, they're having a tables match with Team 3D and Giant Divine, who is, you know, Havoc, versus Jay Lethal and Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, this match comes out of nowhere, and if you had that second show, or if you had more time on Impact, you can explain why this match is happening. You know, including like the Abyss and Rhino and Relic and Black Rain match. this also can give more time to explain why they're doing this. Especially like now, you know, Genesis was just a couple of weeks ago, and now Turning Point's this weekend. You know, a lot of people don't realize that just because they don't have all this time to showcase. And I feel that if they had that second show, like I said, just be an hour show to showcase these other guys and then help build up these other feuds, you know, like they're having. Like, honestly, not too many people are really caring about this pay-per-view. I'm not that excited about it. The main event, you know, the 6-man tag, I'm not that excited about it because it hasn't really been built up that good. I mean, they had the AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Chris Sabin match on Impact last week. You know, it was a great match. I'm not going to take anything away. It was a great match, but it does nothing to build up anything for the pay-per-view. It was just a match for, I think it was like $25,000 or something. It was just a match for no reason. And, you know, I'm wondering, like, why do that? I mean, like I said, I'm not complaining at all, but why do that? And you're not even going to build up your pay-per-view for people, you know. This is where you make your money, TNA. You're not building up your pay-per-view for people, you know, to want to watch the pay-per-view. Sure, they have, you know, the road to Turning Point and everything, but honestly, it's not too many of those shows that make you want to buy the pay-per-view. Like, for instance, the road to Genesis. Okay, I'm like, okay, the road to Genesis, they're going to showcase, you know, the Sting and Kurt Angle feud and everything, and who's Sting's mystery partner going to be. But we see the freaking Ultimate X match from Bound for Glory. We don't see any build up for the pay-per-view, and that's the reason why people don't order it, because there's no build up. But look at Hard Justice, okay? Oh my God, Hard Justice. Everyone says it's the worst pay-per-view in the world. I beg to differ. It's a bad pay-per-view. It's not the worst though. The Hard Justice build up was so great. I'm talking, I think like 7:45. I'm sitting there watching the preview show, like, should I push the B button to buy this pay-per-view? And it just kept getting better and better because they built that pay-per-view up. They built that main event up to the point where I had to watch it. I had to order it. And that's what, you know, that's basically what I did. I ordered the pay-per-view, and, you know, basically because that build-up show, all that build-up helped me decide that I wanted to order pay-per-view. But now they're not doing that. I mean, like I said, the road to Turning Point, what are they going to showcase? I mean, the whole Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Tom Cole versus Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Samoa Joe, it really means nothing. The Feast of Fire match really means nothing. This pay-per-view is so lackluster that it's not even funny. This is just a horrible way to end their year. So I feel that if they had that second show where they can showcase more of this stuff, it would be much better. Like I said, you got 4 impacts in a month, so that's 8 hours. Add 4 more hours, that's 12 hours. That would help so much. I mean, the WWE, you know, they have so many hours. I mean, what are you going to say? They're the WWE. They got freaking almost like 24 hours to showcase their pay-per-view. You know, TNA, like I said, if Spike TV, I'm not going to say they don't have a brain, but if they had any sense, they would give TNA the second show, let them showcase these wrestlers, you know, and just give these other guys a chance and help build up these pay-per-views for people that want to watch them. Another thing I want to talk about before I go is TNA Impact and the ratings. People are saying, you know, the ratings for TNA last week was a 1.0, and I've heard people saying it was a bad show because they got a 1.0. Okay, how does a rating justify on how good a show is? Just take this for example. If Spike TV was to air the movie, okay, everyone loves Casino. I'm sorry, this is one of my favorite movies, but it's a great movie. Everybody loves Casino. If they were to air Casino every Wednesday morning at 2:45 a.m. and every single week, they will get a rating of 0.1, 0.0, 0.1, 0.2. Will that take anything away from how good the show is? No, it just tells you how many people are interested. And that's what TNA is basically the same thing. It's not a bad show, it's just that too many people aren't interested anymore. And I agree, you know, I think people say it's not as good as it used to be, but, you know, I mean, what are you going to do? You have to accept what you get in front of you. And some people have said, you know, screw TNA, wouldn't want to watch it, but I mean, it's not as bad of a show as people think it is. You just gotta give it a chance. Sure, like I said, I don't agree with all their build-up. Some of this stuff is stupid. They put, you know, Black Rain and Abyss on TV for no reason, but that doesn't take away from how good the show is. Like I said, most people saw Impact last week and they was like it was a great show because of that main event. But when they watch it this week, they're gonna say it's bad because it gets a 1.0, it gets a 0.9. That doesn't justify anything. That doesn't justify how good the show is. So just because it's getting a 1.0 doesn't mean you can't, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't watch it. You should watch it because it is a decent show, and I feel that people will get a lot of enjoyment if they just take the time and watch it and not listen to what other people think about it. Okay, that's all I gotta say. I'm Mr. Classic 8. I'm out.